This video, I'm going to be breaking down the Philadelphia Eagles offensive playbook. If you guys want to check out my entire offensive ebook out of this, it is in our school community. I'll put a link to that down in the description below if you guys want to check it out. It's only $10. It gets you access to everything that I have for Madden 25 and College Football 25. All offensive, defensive books, everything for just $10. If you want to sign up for that, again, that link is going to be in the description. But I wanted to break down this Philadelphia Eagles offense. This is the clear cut, and I don't even think it's close, best offense in the game. They actually added some new formations into it, and so I want to give you kind of a full version of this, and really just kind of key in on why this offense is so good for switch stick and some of the components of it that I think are really effective. Now, that being said, largely this video is going to be based out of kind of Fancy's offensive scheme that he used to complete the best Madden season we've ever seen. And his offense was, he was running Philadelphia, and he pretty much consistently just got big conversions in big moments. And it really kind of put the blueprint, in my opinion, on what makes an offense good in Madden, and specifically what makes an offense good in the switch stick era, and that is spacing. That is spacing that is effective, full field route combinations that attack the entirety of the field. And in my opinion, Eagles does this very, very nicely. So let's go ahead and get into the audibles for the scheme as well as the coach adjustments. So for coaching adjustments, you want to make sure the main thing is your ball carrier on conservative. This is kind of the standard in the game at this point. And then let's talk about audibles. So our main formations that we're going to be utilizing, really the number one is normal Y off close. But then you also have this doubles off close. What I like to do for my audibles, I like to pass ball majority of the time, and I'll come out in a run if I need to. But typically what Fancy was doing was utilizing a lot of cheat flat X post, Y sail, cheat slot fade, and then situational and motion angle wheel. These are probably the best passing plays in the formation. And then you can also come out in the play PA snag, which is probably the overall best play in the game this year. It's the number one play that you'll see called. It's just a really good play because you have play action blocking. Play action blocking is going to help you block a lot of the meta blitzes in there. And then, situationally, let's say you want to mix in an inside zone. Just come out in the inside zone. Situationally, you want to mix in a jet touch pass. One of the real cool things that Fancy does is pretty much once a game, whenever the situation is kind of presents itself, or you feel like, you've kind of set this up because you're going to run jet touch pass a lot, you come out in this fake jet Y wheel, and the abilities you want to have on your quarterback are either master tactician or the combination of backyard QB and conductor. And then obviously you want to have gunslinger. If you can get set feet leader, pass seat elite, great. And what you want to do is you want to break the huddle and immediately hot route the outside receiver on the right side to a streak and the running back on a Texas route. Can't show you that in practice mode, but pretty standard thing that you can do, conductor combination. Anyway, this is the main formation, and those are the audibles, and then you're going to kind of situationally run out with whatever you want. Doubles off close weak. The best plays in this formation are pivot in seams, RPO read bubble, double post, and PAY cross. Now, this double post play, if you want to use X dagger for that nice kind of cool in route, you could do that. If you want to just use a basic inside zone, you can do that just to make it a little bit more of a run-based formation. Not a big deal either way. The main plays you want are pivot in seams and PAY cross. Normal Y off, pretty much exclusively a running formation for me. And so this is what I use. I don't think Fancy literally ever called this formation. Tight Y off weak, again, not a formation that really Fancy went to, so not going to spend a ton of time on that one. Bunch X nasty. I do believe that this formation does have some value in this year's game. There's some cool things that you can do from this. What I like about it is it has the play spacing switch. In my opinion, this table route from the play spacing switch is super, super helpful. You also have smash return, which is a really good play. Fancy didn't really run a lot of bunch. But I do think this is still a really, really good formation. You also have double out with like a bench pivot type of route right there. And then you have motion speed dig under that has a really nice crossing route within the play. Another thing, if you don't like that play, you could just put a run play in here if you wanted to, or you have a nice quick hike combo out of the corner out dig play. But in general, this is kind of what I like to rock. So again, Fancy didn't run this one a lot, but it's in the playbook, so I figured we'll add it to the audibles. Stack way off. The reason this formation is really good is because it has this play fake jet pass power. It also has a jet touch pass. So if I ever get a look where I want to audible to a jet touch pass and I don't have it in my main formation, you can audible to this formation really quickly and you get access to kind of some really, really good plays. Another super underrated formation, I think, in the Eagles playbook is this tray open. And the reason why it's underrated is you have this really cool seam route from the play wide drag. You have this play, where's it at in here? Just the basic slants with the fast table on that left side. I really like stick. You could have, some of these plays in here just situationally. And then the cool part about Eagles is they have a really good trips tied in. So you have trips tied in flex and trips tied in regular. And so trips tied in flex, what I like to do, motion Y post, I like to have, actually change this up a little bit with some of the new hot routes and stuff like that. But basically, what I'm probably going to have in here is this halfback angle play. I just think it's a nice play to have. PA shot crossers is a really nice play to have as well. I really like verticals, though, just because of the type of fades you get are kind of unique. Or if you want to have, you really do whatever you want in this last spot. Really, the main play you're going to be going to is the motion Y post. I'm going to put vertical. Actually, you know what? I'm going to probably keep the play action play in here. And then whatever run you want if you want to have a run. Trips tied in. This formation is probably the most underrated addition to a playbook we've seen all year because they added in the cheat motion from trips tied in, which is really good. And what I like to do is I have this cheat clear out seam play. This is a really good play to have in your playbook. If you want to have a cheat inside zone, that's cool. I think curl flat. I just don't run the ball out of regular trips. I think having curl flat is a really good quick hike play. Verticals is a good quick hike play, and PA slot corner is a really, really good play as well. Verticals is the only one that I would say you don't really necessarily need to have that one. So if you wanted to have the fast table from cheat flood drive, you could do that. Or you could run flood, speed option, or just basically cross under, whatever you want to do there. Spread flex weak. Not a really good formation. The only thing that's really good about it is running the ball. So if you ever wanted to mix in an RPO here, you have that. Empty base flex. Honestly, not a terrible formation this year, these 5 wide type sets. What makes these formations really good is just their spacing, right? So you have stick and nod with a return route. Return route, you can build a lot this year around a return route. Also, you could build a lot around kind of these like seam streaks from Haas wide juke. So another good play to have. Middle high low gives you that glitchy fade on the left side. So you see how we're just getting some basic stuff done within the plays. Empty bunch wide, again, these are just like maybe in a blue moon you would audible to them, but nothing really insane out of them. They do have the empty tray stack formation, which is actually a really, really good formation. They have stick and nod. They just have some good plays out of here. One of my favorites are like these curl flat. Salem play is really good. QB draw, fade out. These are like really, really fun plays to have if you ever wanted to get into this formation. There's some good stuff in here. This has been kind of a pretty well documented 5 wide formation over the years. And then you do have a bunch of quads. So anyway, those are the main ones. And then the only other one that I wanted to go over is the slot right is actually a formation you can audible to. And so you have RPO read Y flat, halfback ISO. This is just basically kind of a glitchy run formation that I like to utilize. And then really from there, the only thing that I think is noteworthy is red zone. You have this pistol wing flex close. And in this pistol wing flex close, you want to have halfback zone weak, wide zone, and then you want to have these auto motion plays. This motion slot comeback play is really good to have access to. And then really kind of up to you. I would just personally say to have either the motion. The reason I like motion for choice is because of that speed out. But motion did go is because you have a return route is probably a little bit better. And then that's pretty much the main red zone formation you really need. And then you actually have some like eye tight, standard, just run the ball type stuff down here as well. And in general, again, we're going to be in normal off close. And we're going to be going over PA snag. So I'm just going to give you kind of some of the main plays that are really, really good out of this playbook. And we're going to first and foremost just kind of key in on cover 4 drop shade down, because that is the main coverage that you're going to see in this year's game. And basically, Fancy was able to really exploit this coverage with the utilization of this cheap flat X post. So I want to show you kind of a cool trick is if you stem the route on the left side down and you flip the formation, notice that the route stem stays. So what Fancy would do is he'd come out in the play, stem the return route down, and then flip it to the side that he wanted to run on. And typically, he wanted to have the return route on the short side of the field. So you're going to see here, return route is going to be on the short side of the field. Then you're just going to stem up this outside guy. You could also, if he won't stem, as you see here, it messed it up. And so sometimes that happens with stemming this year. So what you can do is just put him on a curl, stem him all the way up, or just fade him. Perfectly fine either way. Flat the tight end, streak the running back. This combo right here, this is the combo of combos, and this is really the combo that we saw him exploit a lot. Essentially, what you're able to do here is I'm just going to let this play run, and then we'll kind of break down the routes on the play. So essentially what happens on this play and why it is so good is because in a cover 4 based defense, what you basically get is a box on each side of the field. So you get, and really where you want to exploit against a cover 4 is really the middle of the field and then like the outside sideline. So anyway, the point is you get this post that's going to break open right about here. You have this return route that's going to break open right about here. And then you have this running back route that's going to break open here. So essentially what this does is it creates kind of, if you look at it, essentially a triangle in terms of, if I look at the quarterback, a triangle read. So I'm able to read the middle, and I can hit the right side, the left side, or the direct middle area of the field. And then because they're going to be flowing, the routes are going to flow into a sideline pattern to the right, an underneath middle, right? So you're able to just attack a lot of space in the horizontal sections. So what ends up happening within a play like this is you often get, let me actually audible to it, you often are going to get your running back open here to the right side, or you're going to get your little return route, or if those two get covered because their hooks are on 5, then you're going to get that. Another thing that you get a lot in this year's game is you're going to get essentially a kind of cross style blitz like this, right? Just imagine he's actually on the cover 4 quarters cross, and the user is going to be over here. So if they send 4, it's even easier. The reason this is even easier is because the user is going to automatically have to defend that return route. And then what you're able to do here is you are going to be able to hit this little running back like streak route in that area of the field. So another thing that I think is really important to understand just in terms of how this route combo was so good, or why this route combo is so good, is the different types of adjustments that your opponent could make, and really why Fancy typically would run this with the return route on the short side of the field. So the reason the return route on the short side of the field was so critical was because it allowed the running back streak to be to the wide side, and then also because it allowed the return route more space to manipulate a vertical hook. So as I totally butchered the route stem, let's fix that. There we go. And let's take a look. So one of the adjustments that John Beast would do situationally is basically, let's say he's sending this 4-man pressure, right? And essentially what he would do is he would take this defender and put him in a vertical hook and essentially just give you the flat to the other side, right? So the reason that this adjustment didn't really matter in terms of things is I want you to look at the void. You could kind of see it on this image. If the user has to go over here to use the running back, and this guy is doing what he's showing he's doing, eventually this vert hook is going to let this return route go over the middle of the field, and he's going to be able to hit this. So we'll just take a look at this real quick, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So we'll let this run, and if we have enough time in the pocket, we can hit this right in this little window, kind of in this sweet spot. The other thing that made this difficult is because it's that John Beast has to user this entire play. And so another one of the things that he would have to do within this play, and what made it, I think, super powerful, the way Fancy utilized it against the cover 4 base coverage, which is the most popular coverage in the game, is John Beats would naturally switch stick right to this player, and the reason why is to take away this post that's going to be on this side. So I'm just going to give you that like example here, and again I'm going to go to it, and I'm just going to flip this play, right, and we get this wide side. So now what we're able to get here is if we have time in the pocket, we're going to be able to hit this running back once he clears over the yellow zone, because we're just replacing where that deep quarter came from. And so you just get a lot of defenders in conflict within the coverage, and the read happens so darn fast that this is probably the best play in the game for spacing the field horizontally and creating that middle of the field triangle, because this streak really just attacked in that soft spot behind that hook curl. And then let's say they stayed underneath, then you could throw this right in this little pocket right there. And then also as kind of a super late read in the play, let's say they switch stick and then they switch stick off and they switch stick back and all those things. Let's say all that occurs. Well, guess what? We're sitting here, typically that means you're dropping 8. So we're hoping that we're having some time in the pocket, and we can actually throw this over in this area of the field as well. So this play does a really good job of attacking a variety of different things that people are going to do. Now I want to go over this play in depth against man coverage as well. So just for the purposes of the video, we are going to reset everything, and we're just going to come out in cover 2 man, because cover 2 man is growing in popularity in this game. So what you would typically see if, let's say this was like a man coverage look, is they can't play cover 2 press man-to-man without using the running back. If they send 4, they have to use the running back, which is why you want to send the running back on a route. And essentially what you're looking for against man coverage is you're going to be looking for this fade's going to clear out. And basically you're just going to be looking for either the running back, and if they user the running back because that's who they have to user, then you want to be looking for this post or this return route. So again, we'll just kind of put this defender in a zone just to kind of illustrate. He's either blitzing. If he's blitzing, it is what it is. You're still going to have plenty of time to go hit your routes. Or if he's not, then you'll have even more time. But essentially, you're basically, if they use the running back, if they send 4, they have to use the running back if they're going to play you in press man. If they send like that, then typically that route is going to get wide open against man coverage, right? That little pivot route, really good, really effective. And then you also have the post that is going to be really, really good at beating man coverage as well. So you just have a lot of options for, beating man-to-man within this look. There, the post got open late at the universal coverage X factor, but anyway. And then the other thing about this, let me actually just show it one more time. I just want to make sure I show you the post route and how good it is against man coverage. It's why short posts are so good, because they beat man coverage a lot better than regular post routes. And essentially, let's see here. It's open, gets that separation, right? So now they have to put a middle of the field, or they have to lurk onto it, right? They have to do different things to counter that. So one of the things they might do is they might, let's say, for example, hook curl and middle third, like cover and robber style of defense. So now what that does is this, and this is very popular, you'll get this guy left on an island one-on-one because they're trying to adjust to everything. If you're playing someone that's running man, and then basically just once he kind of tops the route, you're able to hit that over the top as well. So if they're playing you in that. Now the other thing is, what if they're playing you in cover 0 and they're backing off? That kind of leads me to my next play, but I will go over how cheap flat post destroys that as well. So you don't normally see this, right? But if you do see cover 0, what typically is going to happen is they're gonna be over the top coverage. This is where your fade, or your post for that matter, is going to win. But essentially, just once he starts kind of backpedaling, oftentimes this guy can outrun him. Now, the one thing, this is why I like, that is why I don't love the fade, because if it's cover zero, the fade kind of struggles to get open. But let's say, for example, you have like this, then you can stem this guy all the way up. Or let's say you flip it, right? If you flip it, his stem not only stays, but number two, the other thing that matters. So you see here, like if let's say I stem up square, notice it's gonna fix this other guy. So, anyways, the bottom line is you could just run it this way as well, right? But the other thing I want to show you is when it's a streak and it's not a fade, he'll run a lot faster and he'll get on top of this a lot better, and you have better chance for bombs. Not a great example there. Let me see if I can show you one other thing you can do. So cheap flat post, right? You stem square, or not square. You stem circle all the way up, stem triangle all the way down, right, like this. Stem up one more, and you flip. And now, of course, I stem the wrong side, but anyway, let me flip back. Told you wrong. One more. Let me fix it. All right, here we go. Let's cheap flat post. All right, let me just break the huddle. The other thing you can do against cover zero that just kills it is this cheap flat. The cheap flat motion does really good against cover zero. But I did want to show you. So like cover zero, you go cheap flat post. We're gonna take the square receiver. We're gonna stem him all the way up. Hopefully I got this right. I'm just gonna stem both of them up because I don't know for sure what I meant to do. Anyway, so you get this streak. That's the whole point. And what happens is he's going to get on top of him faster, and it gives you a better shot at a one-play touchdown. Practice mode is kind of selling, but in general, that's what you would do. But it leads me to kind of my next thing, and this is why this play is so good. This play is really good because, number one, you attack the seam streaks really well. You get a clean clear out, but also the other thing that I think really matters is if it's cover zero, this fade is gonna just kill that off coverage man. So if they're playing any kind of cover zero, this fade. See if we can actually make the throw here. Be great, but he's gonna get open over the top. So that's your route that you have. That's really good against cover zero. The other thing against cover zero is your running back, right? But in general, we can just make a throw. There you go. That will win, right? So that's one way to attack cover zero. I mean, there's just so many ways to attack cover zero in this game. Another one is just hitting your routes on the break. Normally, that's going to be pretty good. But that leads me to kind of my third or another setup that I really like. So if you think about it, what cheap flat X post does a really good job of is attacking the middle of the field. So what we're going to do is a slight variation on this route combo. What I like to do is a 5-yard speed out and then the same thing. So I still stem this down, but I'm going to incorporate this quick speed out. The reason why I incorporate this quick speed out is really for this adjustment. It's when they start going to cover 4, and then basically what they're going to do is they're going to put this guy on a vert hook. When they start doing stuff like that, this little speed out is so free, and it's one of the easiest ways to exploit this defense. So you'll take a look here. I just look at that quick. Okay, they give it to me. I take it. It's super hard to defend that route. Now, the other thing that's really crazy to me is if I give you that same picture, I'm going to put a hard flat out there. And what you'll see is a lot of times I could throw this. Like I'm reading the outside corner. If the outside corner backs up, I just throw this instantly. Of course, that wasn't a great look. But you can, if you freeform that out there and you can stem that all the way down, this right here can totally be a throw that you use. You see if I can just freeform it. The freeform, I think, is the key. But anyway, just getting the ball out there quick to the flat. Another really good route combo at a cheap flat post that I like that Fancy didn't really run is to utilize this right here. The reason I like this route combo is because what we're able to do with this setup is we're able to attack the cover 4 drop on the left side and really just attack with the speed out. That's the main thing we're trying to do here. So, really you're just looking out there, okay, what you're really looking for is, are they in cover 2 or not on that left side? If they're not in cover 2, this is going to be a really, really good route to be able to have access to. Now, what if they go cover two on the left side. That typically means that you got a cloud flat, so he's going to back up to defend that out route. So if you wait on this tight end drag, eventually he can be thrown as kind of a flat route over there on that left-hand side as well. So the other thing that you want to do is you want to try to force a cover two to the right. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is to actually attack like this. So another route combo that you see used very commonly, it's a way to kind of use speed outs within this formation, is essentially to utilize the play Y sail, still put the drag, still put the double streak, but motion the running back out and put him on a 10 to 12 yard speed out. And it's basically the same thing. I'm just looking out there. Oh, that didn't really look good. So I might want to either attack the seam or I want to attack, underneath. It just kind of depends on the coverage they give you. But ultimately, I don't know why that's like super weird that I'm getting that coverage to reset. I think it's because I'm in. Oh, I think it's because I'm in. I'm not in baseline anymore. But anyway, if that's not open, you see how much space is left for that end route over the middle. So this is kind of super important. Once we get them to run cover two, and normally they're going to run cover two like this, where this safety is going to be down here, and they're going to run cover two like this. They're not going to put deep halves. They're going to put quarters. If they do deep half, it still works, but it's a lot easier if it's quarters. And I'll show you how to manipulate deep halves. Deep halves are really easy to beat. So that's where this play cheat slot fade comes in. And all you're going to do is you're just going to post the tight end, and you're going to curl this receiver right here, and you're just going to snap the ball quick. If you see cover two, that deep half will get glitched by that post, and that fade is really the read that you're wanting to make against the cover two coverage. Now, another way that we can attack cover two is with that setup that I was showing you a moment ago. And while we're talking about it, I want to just kind of get back into the main way in which a defense would be designed. And it's really this setup right here. So we would go, let me just do like a basic cover two. What I would do, number one, this cheat slot fade play still pops cover two to the side. So you see how the deep half just kind of gets ran by? That is super, super important. Because we want to make sure that we're able to beat every coverage. And when we catch them in cover two, we want to be able to get big plays over the top. What most people do is they like to use inside quarters because they like to run cover four. So if we get a coverage like this, for example, these inside quarters are obviously never going to, they're just not going to do a very good job of defending this fade. And so you see here, just see that, boom, you can just throw this up and out, and there you go. Another thing that I like to do, that I like to mix in as well, though, is if we get like a Tampa 2, but we're getting the quarters, is if we go back to that cheap flat post play, that's where this guy on a streak kind of helps us play even more so. So we get, a combo like this. We kind of peek out there. Oh, he's in a quarter. He's not in a half. We might be able to hit that over the top. Got crazy shedded there. But the other thing is if we get like a true cover two, where let's say they're smart and they pull these guys back, like this is something really advanced player would do, where you're getting just stock cover two, basically. What you can also do to attack this coverage is you can go back to this setup right here. And the reason why this setup beats cover two is the wheel route pulls the deep half on the right, and the deep out is going to pull the deep half on the left. And then you're just going to have this real big void up the middle of the field. Now, sometimes that safety will play out of his mind. Normally, all you have to do in that case, which at this point in the year, there's just so many good corners and stuff. But the thing that you could do to kind of counter that is put the deep out a little bit deeper. So we're going to do it once, twice. Do it 2 times. Now you have a deep out. Watch this speed out really pull that deep half a little bit better this time. And we're going to freeform up into the inside. It's a tight window, but if you hit it, it's going to be a touchdown. So you see how we're just able to manipulate kind of the if this then that rules and some of the different coverages that they can play us in. We're able to manipulate with pretty few play calls. Now, the next play call that you would see a lot in the Madden Bowl and one of Fancy's, I think, just staple plays was this PA snag. So this PA snag is super good because the running back, you're in a play action play. This is going to help you block any real crossfire blitzes. So there was really two primary setups that Fancy would use. And again, what I thought was so good about his core route combos is they just truly attack the entire field. And they really worked well off of one another. So this first one is going to do a really good job of attacking this type of crossfire loop. And the reason why is because it's a send forward loop in which typically you're going to get a cover 4 shell on the back end. So what you're able to do here is you're going to drag the tight end, table the running back, and streak the slot. So what we're going to see here is this little spot route is kind of the main thing. You see how it just kind of gets in that soft spot against cover 4. It's really hard to defend in a cover 4 shell, and you're able to hit that area right there. So to defend that, what they have to do is they have to either run this version of the cover 4, which is the disengage, which puts the user down here like this, or they have to run cover 2, which causes other issues. The reason that this one matters is because if you see the blitz like this, all you want to look for really is just this post, because it's going to be almost impossible for them to switch stick that post right there, right? And then, the next kind of way we break down the coverage is just, basic man coverage beater, the drag beats it, all that other stuff. Another underrated thing, though, is let's say you get like a cover 4 on this left side and you get a cover 2 right here. So they kind of steal a yellow zone. The reason that is key is because now you have this running back table. You have to be willing to throw this year. But if you see that guy back up like that, you just throw your table. Another really popular coverage that people utilize is they'll do that cover 4 defense like this. And then the other thing that they'll do is they'll put that vert hook there, kind of like they would on the other side. And so what you would do with this play is, again, he pops there. Now I look at that outside window that's open. I'm going to take what the defense gives me. Madden 25 is really about taking what the defense gives you and making them have to play super aggressive defense, which then they're not able to save themselves with the switch stick like they could in a more cover 4 base coverage. Another setup that we saw Fancy utilize a ton was this one right here. This is a seam streak. Basically, kind of a really interesting play, but essentially what he's taking advantage of here is he's going to have a lot of clear out. See how this tight end is going to clear everything out, and then you can throw this post kind of in this right side area. The other reason why having a lot of clear out routes are super helpful in this year's game is because of it opens up playmaker. So to playmaker, you're just going to flick your right stick. So what'll happen is, we see they cover me down. I'm just going to playmaker that up right into that void right there. And that wheel route on the left side is going to be pulling the zones out, opening up the throwing window to be able to attack that. Another really good way to manipulate a cover 2 style coverage, let's say something like this on this left-hand side. There's a lot of ways to manipulate it, but one of the best ones is this right here. So a lot of times, again, it's going to be this kind of cover 4 base deal. What Fancy would do is you would get a streak, you would get a flat, a wheel, and then kind of like that Y cell, you might get a zig on this backside, you might get a drag, but in general, this would be something that you would get. And basically that tight end pulls, and then that pulls that cloud. And then as you see, that route gets really, really open, and they have to kind of handle that as well. So these are just all different mechanisms by which you're able to attack this, kind of cover 4 style defense. Another defense that I think is worth talking about just briefly about is this audible to trips. Fancy didn't really do this much in the Madden Bowl, but he did a lot in the MCS playoffs. And one of the underrated setups that I've seen is just streak the tight end, streak the inside trips receiver. You're going to leave this play action, and if they don't pass commit, the safeties will kind of come up for a second, and you can normally hit this tight end. He totally did not run his route properly, but you can potentially do that. It's really more of a thing that happens in game, and it's really, really good for attacking this little disengage. But essentially, you're just reading those streaks. If those streaks are not open, if it doesn't look like you're going to have a step up those seam streaks, then you're just going to read the high-low between the post and the drag, right? That's all you're really doing. And you can playmaker the drag as well. But what happens a lot of times is you see how that safety kind of bit on that right side. If he gets a step on him, that's a potential rat catch for a touchdown that you can do to attack kind of that cover four style defense. What that then forces the opponent to do, and this is why this is kind of the chess match of Madden, is you do something, then they have to do something to counter it. Now what they got to do is they got to either pass commit or they got to back these guys up to be able to play properly against the seam streaks. So then what that does to me is it just opens up basic passing out of trips tight end. So if we go to trips tight end, one of my favorite things to do, and Fancy do this a lot down in the red zone, is he just went to like basic crawl flat like this. This was a very popular combo that he would utilize, and essentially he's just trying to attack kind of the drag or the running back route over the middle field. So those are some of the main plays that Fancy would use. I'd be crazy if I didn't show you this play that's in the playbook that you have access to, and that's motion posts, right? You have the return route. So guess what we're able to do here? We either just run it like this, or what I like to do is drag this inside receiver, make this a super horizontal combo. My first read is always this out route. The reason I like this out route is because of how the game plays. If they're down in the box like this, if that outside corner doesn't go guard it, this little quick out is a great possession catch to the sideline. Something you have access to there. And then another really good play that I love out of trips tight end, I think might be the most slept on play in trips tight end. It's just a basic. It doesn't matter to me what play you do it from. We'll do it out of cheat clear out seam here. It doesn't really matter. But basically the idea here is you're just going to go with a deep in route, a flat, a zig, and then on this right-hand side, you're going to go flat streak combo like this. This is so good because you can hit this little zig in this tight spot right here. They have to user that, and then if they user that, you can hit the deep in over the middle of the field. So these are just like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Another really good setup. Like, I'd really encourage you to mix in some speed outs. Like, I think personally something like this is a really underrated setup this year that nobody's really using, because you have the high-low, you have the clear out, and then you also, the biggest thing is the speed outs, man. You have to be incorporating speed outs into your offense. They're so important to be mixing in. Another super important play to talk about that Fancy would use situationally. This is for those guys that love to run cover four hard flat and they just put the controller down basically, or switch stick, right? What you can do with that is you go to motion halfback angle. You're going to stem up this out route 1 to 2 times. I'll do it twice here. You're going to drag this outside guy, and then kind of up to you how you want to do the right side of the field. There's a lot of different combos that are good. Personally, what I prefer to do is simply just a very, very simple, post curled flat, or streak corner flat, or streak corner nothing, right? Something like that. Anyway, the main read here is this drag route is going to pull the flat inside, and you're going to be able to throw that for a possession catch. Again, it's all about attacking kind of the sideline to force a cover 2 call, and then when you get that cover 2 call, you're able to pop over the top. That is that's the whole thing about passing in this year's game. Take your underneath, open up the bigger play once they start to get aggressive in their coverage. I really like this play over in like this area of the field, because what you get here is you can do a setup like this, where you have this flat, and what the flat's going to do is the flat's going to pull the hard flat, and then now look what we can do with our tight end. We can have all that space, and then if they come down there, we have the post. So those are some of the best plays. And then if you're over on this hash, for example, you can audible over to spacing switch. I'd be crazy if I didn't show you like kind of some of the things you can do out of this. The cool part about spacing switch is this running back table is just really, really good. And then you also have, just kind of your standard bench pivot type combinations. But the running back table route is really, really good at a spacing switch. The other route combo that I think is just super important to show is smash return. There's really two with that. The first one is streak corner and just snap like this. The second is drag streak and then block the back. And again, both of these are kind of doing the same thing. You're forcing the underneath yellow coverage, and then you're really hitting this kind of dig back in that area. So these are just some of my favorite ways to pass in this year's game. Just simple high-low reads. This play out of Y sail is really good for attacking the sideline. You just stem this guy pretty much all the way down, maybe not all the way, right? Leave him like one, like that. And then let's say they're running, you could catch them in a match, you can catch them in cover two, right? But if they're not going to, you can throw this kind of right in this little kind of soft spot against cover four hard flat. And then against cover two, you can throw it over the top of it. So there's just a lot of things within this formation, within this playbook. Another underrated quick hike play is just put the running back on a corner route and snap the ball. And a lot of times your crosser or your corner is going to be open. The running back corner quick hike is really good again for cover four. Why? Because we're attacking kind of in that soft spot of the cover four coverage, which is kind of that intermediate area. You see here the hard flat kind of goes out, and then we can throw this running back in the super soft spot of the zone right there. A lot of that's literally what the game is all about this year, man. It's all about finding, these soft spots within the zone. Here's Y sail, a little better example of it. This is to the wide side. Take a look at this outside quarter on the right side. You'll see he'll kind of he'll freeze for just a second. And you can try to throw that. I feel like with how good the defenders are right now, that's a little bit of a tight throw at this point in the year. But the much better throw is when we can get this wide side speed out. Again, why would that wide side speed out be open? Because they didn't switch stick to it. If they do switch stick to it, work your high-low between your drag and your backside in. But typically you'll see here, you can kind of throw this almost like I threw it just a little bit early there. But you can definitely hit this against most coverages. It's also really good against man. Speed outs in general are just really, really effective against man. I mean, if you run like this, that's fine. The 10-yard will cut a little faster, but basically just pass lead up and the outside and that little soft spot right there. They have to switch stick over there to be able to take that away. But realistically, they have to kind of switch stick on the right guy, because if they switch stick on either quarter zone, they're going to be screwed. They're going to give them a touchdown. So they're going to have to switch stick all the way to the flat defender. If they switch stick over there to the right side, it leaves this throw kind of right in that soft spot as well. So it just kind of is choose your poison. And that's why I think these combos are so good, because they space the entire field, which is, I think, just super, super underrated. I'm going to give you one of my favorite combos in this game right now, and that is just using a wheel out of PA Snag. And the reason I like the wheel route is because when you do this, you can hit this drag really quick against man coverage. The wheel route is amazing against different types of match coverage. It's going to be really good for attacking that type of stuff. But then the other reason why I like it, and specifically I like this to this hash, is because if you take a look at kind of where everything ends up hitting, this tight end drag gets a lot of space to be able to work. And you can just hit this in a lot of soft spots. And then if you get that heavy underneath coverage, you can playmaker him up, and he gets into that soft spot of the zone as well. So these are all just different little ways in which you can play offense in this game and be pretty effective. So this is normal Y off close. There's really not a whole lot I want to touch on from the other formations, other than just the audibles and kind of the money play aspect of it. Like if I see it look for a jet touch, see how fast that audible is. I'm already into a quick jet touch pass, quick, boom. And then I have, what I love about this is because I'm conservative, I have this quarterback play that I could go to, the fake jet pass power. This run is really good if you need like a yard or two, especially against dollar. You'll see just kind of how this kind of like opens up, right? Super good little run there. And then I talked a little bit about the trip side end stuff. There's obviously, I could go into a ton of detail, and I've done that other places. One of the formations that I think gets super slept on is tray open. One of my favorite audibles is tray open, and I'm gonna go to this play stick. It has that fast table route that we really like. So what I like to do is just zig this inside guy, just like this. This is what it looks like. And essentially, what I'm gonna do is until they show me they can stop it. This is a cover four hard flat. Watch this flat. He's going to suck inside significantly. Of course, he didn't right there. But basically, that running back table route is going to be there for you a lot within this game. So I don't know if it's because I set zone drops or what it is. But in general, this running back table is going to be wide open, just quick hitter. Okay. So I have that. Another way that I'll run that tray open play, I think is a super. I passed it, I think. Go stick. I'll drag both of these guys like this. And then I'll do a deep in route, like a 15-yarder, like that. That is such a good, like, just space the field type play. Really looking for the table. Okay, that's not open. Okay, they got good underneath coverage. I got to dig in the back end. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. This audible right here to normal Y off. Again, what I'll do with these normal Y off type formations like this, guess what I now have a threat of? A super deep speed out on the right. Right? So I want to just do a combo like this, for example. And now they have to respect, this throw. Passing that down and outside, catch it, boom. But then the other thing that I get with that is that I can go to this quick base, which is, I think, the best run in this playbook because you get that pulling guard. So there's just a lot of stuff in here, man. I'll give you a little bit of a red zone deal as well. So I'm just gonna, just for the purpose here, use this. I'm gonna go over my trips or the trips plays that I saw fancy using. So obviously we know kind of some of the basic ones, right? Flat, slant, do this right here. And then basically all you're doing is you're just reading the field left to right. And the main read you're going to look for is really that throw right there. The other thing we could do is, let's say we go to trips flex. We got motion post. We can go flat drag like that. And then we have this, kind of auto motion fade, and then we have that post, and we have that drag underneath. Those are some of the main passing plays. And then let's say, you're playing somebody that one of the most popular coverages this year is, you can literally just go to this play right here or do it like this. But it's basically this idea of, like, I'm going to run cover 2 hard flat so I can get the vert hooks. And then these guys are going to be like outside thirds almost. They might be in purples. They might be in outside thirds. What you're looking to hit is this kind of circle seam, kind of right in that area right there. Another play that you see a lot down here, more so for like a cover 4 situation, is a curl flat play call. So if you want to see like a curl flat, just drag the tight end. And then the other thing that's kind of crazy is you stem these curls. You curl this guy and stem him up like that to the back of the end zone, kind of for that same scenario. And then what you're really looking for is, that running back route right there that wasn't really open, but you got to anticipate them sending 4 at you. Another really good red zone play is cheap flat post. Just drag this guy, in route this guy, and then flat the running back. What you get a lot down here in the red zone is cover 2 with clouds and then the inside quarter. So it looks like this, because those vert hooks are really good for taking away the quick in or the return route or something like that. The problem is you have to cloud flat on the outside, and it normally leaves, that table route as something that you could hit, for a short yardage play. Now, when you get down in this area of the field, this is where you really just want to run the ball because the space is so limited. It's super hard to pass down here. But there is a little formation here: pistol, wing flex close, wide zone. And then I'm just going to run like random plays. But basically what you can do is you have the wide zone here. So if you get a good look for the stretch, you can run the stretch. But the other thing is you can also playmaker your run left and right, right? So if they look a little soft on the left side, you can try to cut this up, get some easy yardage. I think pistol runs are really good this year. They're really hard to shoot. And then you also have this halfback zone weak. This halfback zone weak gets really good blocking. It's almost like a duo run. And so it gets really nice blocking down here in the red zone. And you can, again, just playmaker this left or right. And you see how we're getting those double teams? Super helpful. And then if you want to pass down here, what you can do is go to the play motion slot comeback. And what I like to do with this play is I'm just going to curl this guy right here. I'm going to zig this guy. I have a speed flat here to the right side. And then on the right side, I'll do, really whatever, just something simple. But basically what I'm looking for is this zig in the soft spot. As you see right there, that little speed flat pulls everything to him, and then you have the zig. Another really good play is motion dig goes, because the running back, what you can do is you get this return route right here. So what I like to do is, basically just drag this guy right here, curl the slot receiver, and then you can pretty much run it like this. Essentially, watch this little running back route, kind of gets in that little spot, and then you can highball these curls in the back of the end zone pretty effectively this year. Didn't hit it there, but anyway, and then you have this little return route in the soft spot. So I show you that. You see how he kind of like super late. Boom. So again, when I get down here, right, I'm mainly trying to run the ball. But this little formation is really good in the red zone. You also have trips tied in the red zone. You could just come out and trips tied in the red zone, and do it that way as well. But in general, the best way to score inside the 5 is ground transportation, 100%. So anyways, guys, this is the Eagles playbook. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a more in-depth breakdown now that Madden Bowl has been played, and just kind of show you some of the things that I already knew and some of the things that I learned from watching Fancy. I believe that this really, truly is the best offense in the game. It just has the most. It has the best spacing, and it just gives you the best opportunity to win. So if you want to learn even more about this offense, you want to learn even more about any offense or defense in the game, I've got a ton of resources in our school community. That's where you can get access to all of my full Madden 25 offensive and defensive ebooks, and as well as our college football offensive and defensive ebooks as well. That is going to be linked in the description down below. For $10, you get access to everything that I know about Madden and college football 25. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and that is the Eagles playbook.